thanks for watching. Today we've got a very special guest as part of our what we call our local expert series. Noel Whittaker has very kindly offered to jump on and answer a few insightful questions. So good morning, Noel. How are you?
Morning, Simon. Great to be with you.
Thank you. Yeah, great. And not that Noel needs any introduction, very high profile figure in financial literacy, financial services. Noel, for many years, ran his own financial planning business, very successful, prolific author. A few of those books we might talk about today. So I'm honored as a fellow practitioner, Noel, that you gave us the time of day. So thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
So given that we're getting close to the Christmas and holiday period, I thought I might start with a question around maybe, what would some of your top three money tips be for the holiday season?
Well, I think the first thing is don't spend more than you earn.
Mm-hmm.
It's become a season where it's a retail construct. It's all buy, buy, buy. It sounds great. Then next month, when the bills come and the school fees hit, you're in serious trouble.
Mm.
So urge the need to get into debt to buy people gifts that they do not need.
Good advice. Right. Okay. Any other special ones for this time of year that come to mind, or things you see in the past that people make mistakes?
Well, I think it's good to reflect on the year that's been.
Mm.
And I think it's good to start to think about what next year might look like.
Mm-hmm.
I always say to people, what you do is you do a net worth statement where you list your assets and your liabilities.
Right.
And each one of those is a trigger for your goals.
Yeah.
If you have an investment property, do you need to keep it or not? If you've got your own home and you think of selling it, are there ways you could improve the saleability by having the gardens better?
Mm.
If you've got a home loan, can you refinance at a better rate of interest? So the net worth statement is the trigger for your goal setting.
Right. And I think, the good habits to develop, and it's about routine, and often, I guess January, February, when families are thinking about the year ahead, as you say, reflecting on the year that's passed, what milestones have achieved, what are the gaps, and that's a great starting point for the conversation. I know as a family, we sit down and do what we call our life planning template around about February when the girls get back to school and we're back into routine. So
also, it's been a great year in markets. I mean, my superannuation fund is way up.
Yeah, indeed.
Which is nice.
Yeah, no, even conservative portfolios have done very well. So all those kind of things, thank you. A very good point to reflect on.
But also, Simon, that people are now saying, well, should I take profits and get out? You must understand it's a long journey.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose to get out, you must then choose to get back. And if the market falls, the biggest upturns come like that,
quick,
fast, and you'll miss out. So the good investors just stay in there, take the ups and the downs.
Yeah, that's right. And I think for our clients that are in retirement drawing down on their funds, I often say to them, the best thing, in terms of the crystal ball, you have more control over what you're doing, what your spending needs are, what you can see in the future versus whether we're going to have another 20% year. So let's focus on that. And
sure.
Do we need to take money out of the portfolio for those kind of things? Otherwise, let it grow, as you say.
Which is why you need cash. You need enough cash for the next 3 years expenditure, I think.
That's exactly right.
Income,
yeah. Brilliant. That's good, and we aim for that benchmark. So fantastic. So moving on to another great question. I think in your sort of, I guess, 50 odd years experience as a financial advisor, commentator, writer,
investor.
Pardon? An
investor as well.
Indeed. Money on the line, right? There's nothing better than having your own money on the line in terms of those emotional challenges.
Sure.
Ups and downs. But what are some of the biggest mistakes you would say people make around retirement planning, I guess, given that's kind of my focus in our client base? But what have you
I think the first mistake is that they don't plan.
Mm.
And a happy retirement, the better you can plan, the better it is.
Mm-hmm.
And people need to understand that health and happiness depends on 4 factors: That's exercise and diet and a social network and a sense of purpose. And that's why we always say, if you're thinking of moving, go and rent for 6 months there first. Because if you move, you lose your social network.
Yeah.
Time and time again, people make the big move. I'm moving to the beach,
Yeah.
and they can't make friends there.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
social network comes from your job, your customers, your church, your sport, and your family.
Mm,
And you've lost them all.
yeah. A big risk.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
risk.
But
That's so
also, I think in too many families, including mine, one partner manages the money and the other one is fairly passive about it.
yeah.
Now, every day I try to educate my wife about the finances.
Mm.
I must say she's not an enthusiastic pupil.
You've got your work cut out for you.
Well, she's yeah. Even though she reads all my stuff, even that she reads my stuff before it's published.
Yes.
Of course, usually if there's a self-managed fund involved, which I've got,
Hmm.
it's usually the bloke runs the fund and the wife just carries along. And then all of a sudden he loses capacity.
Yeah.
She's stuck with a fund that she doesn't want and she doesn't need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Challenging.
yeah.
And I know you've recently, I think one of your most recent update or book was the estate planning one. Is that correct? That you published? Um,
Will, death and taxes.
yes, wills and taxes. So I imagine you'd cover, there it is, wills, death and taxes. So I imagine you cover some of these contingencies and planning in that book pretty well.
Well, that's a topic where there's four specialties.
Mm,
There's law, and there's super,
mm,
and there's tax, and there's financial planning. No one is a specialist. Lawyers don't know a thing about super.
so true.
Lawyers don't know about the death tax on super. Then there's a big issue. Over half Australians were born overseas, or their parents are or were.
Mm,
We're seeing more and more overseas assets coming into the country. So we say in the book, very strong advice. If you've got an overseas property, get advice first,
yeah,
because it may be better to sell it and remit the cash,
yeah,
tax purposes. It may be better to transfer it here and sell it here. Now, the difference in capital gains tax could be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Depends on the country and the circumstances.
And I think with property in particular, it's just such a big, lumpy, frictional asset to move around, isn't it? All those things, the stamp duty, tax issues, not to mention the
Sure,
emotional aspect as well. So,
sure.
yeah,
But also, most of us, including me, have got kids overseas.
yeah,
You only leave them cash.
yeah.
Don't leave them property or shares. You're creating a CGT minefield.
No, good tips, good advice. So the takeaway I think is number one tip for you as a retirement planner and personal investor yourself, and having done the journey and on the journey, is planning is key, isn't it? Planning, ask the right questions, get the right books, do the research, maybe get advice if you think you need that, etc.
Sure. Just bear in mind that I sold my financial planning business in 2007. So it's been 18 years since I was a financial planner.
Yes. Yeah, well, you still write some amazing stuff. So that's why yeah, it's I think always great to talk to someone with your knowledge and share that with our client base. So on that note, I guess what I think you published, was it 22 books to date? Is
I
that
think
about?
it's 25. But to be honest, I've lost count
Well,
because there's some have been co-authored with people as well. But
yeah, well, let's call it 20 plus books.
Something like that.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite, and why would it be your favorite, or a couple?
I
Like,
guess Making Money Most Simple is the famous one.
right.
It's sold a couple of million copies.
Okay.
Every time I make a speech,
Yeah.
one turns up, please sign the book. It changed
Wow.
my life all the time.
Thank
I
you
get
very much.
emails saying your book changed my life.
Yeah.
But my favorite is Beginner's Guide to Wealth.
Yes.
But that's about success. That's it. And
Yeah.
that was written with James, who is my son, as you know,
Yep.
because that was designed to teach young people the basics of life.
Mm,
It's not so much a book about money as a book about life.
okay.
And one of the big things is we learn from our failures.
Hmm.
We can't grow without failing, and the importance of reframing.
Hmm. So
Well, there's all sorts of areas you can There was a terrible thing happened to me. Well, maybe it's it's a starting point for somewhere else.
yeah, what can I get out of this, and what can I learn from it?
Yeah, there's
So that
there's a, there's a great book, The Gift of Pain.
right,
It's wonderful,
yeah,
and pain is a warning signal. If your business is causing you pain, your business is saying, "I need help." If your family are causing you pain, they're saying, "I need help." It's a great book, The Gift of Pain.
I think thank you. That's a good tip. It sounds like you've explained the difference between Making Money Made Simple and Beginner's Guide to Wealth. Beginner's Guide to Wealth is more about mindset and some of these things you talked about, right? I know there's case studies in there about people who've, gone from a challenging situation to, turning their lives around and so forth. And the outcome from that is financial success as well in most cases. Is that fair to say?
Sure, and I made a speech last week, and the MC said, "Oh, I bought Noel's book years ago. It's probably out of date." I said, "No, the basic principles don't get out of date.
Lifelong.
You spend less than you earn, invest wisely, only borrow if you need to,
Mhm.
and never borrow for things that lose in value,
Mm.
and have goals."
Yep. So it's really about getting those basics right, isn't it, Noel? Is
Always,
the key.
always,
Doesn't need to be
always.
overly complicated as much as the media would have you think otherwise sometimes.
Well, don't forget it's the media's job to peddle newspapers with bad news.
Yeah.
If the market jumps, it's on page 110.
Yeah.
It falls, markets wiped out 16 billion or something,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how they get, that's their business model, isn't it? They have to, because that's how they get attention, is that fear, playing on that fear. So,
Yeah,
and we tell our clients, turn off the news and try not to check your portfolio too often. And yeah, just, filter out that noise if you can. But that's what we're here for as advisors, or, the resources you have are great as well. So,
sure.
yeah, on that note, if people want to find out more about you, Noel, or what you do, or buy your books, where can we direct them?
Just Google me. It'll go to my website.
Yep,
It's got the best calculators in the country,
yep, I can vouch for that.
like your superannuation contributions calculator,
Yeah, they're brilliant.
age pension calculator, your Commonwealth Seniors Health Card calculator.
Right.
You can enter from any date since 1980, a national starting date, a national finishing date, and tell you how much money you would have had in the index if you reinvested. I sold a property 3 months ago for $740,000, which cost me $230,000 back in 2000. The same money in the index would be $1.8 million.
Interesting maths, isn't it, to do that?
Shares always beat property hands down to me.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
people don't understand how good shares are.
yeah. I'm just sharing the screen here just for our viewers so they can see your
Oh,
website.
there, good on you. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
that's
yeah,
clever. Yeah.
really, it's very handy, Nolan. And quite often when I'm doing those kind of conversations with clients, we just bring up your calculators. So, we spend thousands of dollars a year for financial planning software, and sometimes this stuff just it does the job. So, yeah, well done for offering that
Meant to
out.
be simple. I know. It's meant to be simple. Yeah, yeah.
And that's great. And that's the challenge, isn't it? Is trying to help people do their own work, do their own research, and then if they reach a point where they want input from experts, that's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. Obviously, that's what you used to do. So that's fantastic. So there's your website for our viewers. And the other thing I want to mention is, if people are interested in getting on your Noel News, then they can go to your homepage, and obviously here they can subscribe, which I recommend people do, because you've got some great stuff in there as well, Noel. So. Um,
And it's free. It's been going for 30 years and people love it.
yeah, that's great. It's really good. So thanks, Noel, for your time today. Some really valuable insights. And keep up the good work. And as I said, you're, a great bastion and representative for all good things about financial advice and money management. So really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Cheers.